Dots is an active learning experience in which students construct meaning for themselves and engage in the process of learning. It is a strategy used to review, demonstrate, and extend thinking. Choice is given to students based on the order in which they roll the die. However, they still complete all the required learning tasks set by the teacher. Think Dots can also be used as an easy and engaging formative assessment tool. Think Dots can be done in pairs or groups of up to 4 students. When using this, or any collaborative strategy, teachers must ensure that student grouping is purposeful for promoting academic success and fostering interpersonal relationships in the classroom. To begin, the teacher will create or choose 6 rigorous questions tied to their current unit of instruction. These questions will then be placed into the Think Dots template. This template should resemble a 2x3 cell table. In each box, the teacher places a small image of a numbered die that corresponds to a question. For example, the top box on the left would have a question and an image of a die below it with only the 1 dot showing. After the Think Dots template of questions is complete, the teacher would copy enough for each student and provide each group of students with 1 die. For instance, in a class of 32 students, the teacher would copy 32 Think Dot templates and create 8 groups of 4 students with 1 die per group, thus 8 dice total. Let's take a look at this strategy in action. Once the materials have been passed out, the teacher will provide directions, both written and verbally, to the students. Students will take turns answering the questions based on the number they roll on the die. An assigned student will begin by rolling the die and reading aloud the question or prompt that matches the number on the die. That same student will then share their answer with the group. The other members of the group must listen reflectively and then add onto the answer or discuss other possible answers using conversation sentence frames until they come to a consensus. The combination of students using dice with a teacher-driven question and structured group discussion allows students to be enticed by the gamification while at the same time synthesizing and elaborating in small group conversation. Once they have come to a consensus, the students will write down the answer on their individual Think Dot sheet in the corresponding box. The rolling of the dice, questioning, and discussion will continue with different students until all questions have been answered. If a student rolls a number that has already been answered, they can re-roll until they get a question that has not been answered. When they get to the last question, they do not need to roll the die. The group can simply answer the final remaining question. The Think Dot strategy is complete when all questions have been correctly answered and every student has the corresponding answer written on their Think Dots sheet. This is an excellent way to formatively assess student comprehension throughout the unit, use as a review tool for the end of the unit, or incorporate previously learned content in order to make connections to the current unit. Think Dots can extend learning as well. For example, students can roll the die twice, or have 2 dice if available, and use these 2 numbers to make connections between 2 questions. Let's say a student rolls a 2 and a 6. They would need to create a connection between the questions number 2 and number 6 in the Think Dot sheet. This could be connecting a similar theme or pattern, examining different concepts within the same unit, or explaining how they are related. Think Dots can be elevated by utilizing different levels of Bloom taxonomy or Webb's depth of knowledge question stems in the question boxes. For example, the lower numbers could have a lower ranking in Bloom's or depth of knowledge, while the higher the number of the die, the more difficult the question would be according to Bloom's or depths of knowledge. As listed by Denise White and Elisa Brady in their book Ready to Go: Instructional Strategies that Build Collaboration, Communication, and Critical Thinking, some suggested adaptations and applications for this strategy could be: younger students can use Think Dots to practice foundational skills such as letter sounds, counting, rhyming words, long and short vowels, and so on. If technology is available, Think Dots can be used through Google Docs or other formats. If paper supply is an issue, project the Think Dots onto the screen and students will write answers on a sheet of paper equally divided into 6 parts. Suggested use for English language arts would be in vocabulary, revisions for writing, editing sentences for conventions and mechanics, and questions about a story or article. Suggested use for mathematics would be in word problems, math problems to demonstrate, mathematical terms, and analyzing incorrectly solved problems for errors. Some suggested uses for science would be in science terms, questions at the end of a unit, or questions to reflect on a lab. Some suggested uses for social studies could include academic vocabulary, finding locations on a map, or questions at the end of a unit. Suggested use for physical education, art, and music could be in vocabulary, questions to analyze a work or a piece of art or music, various athletic skills or exercises for students to demonstrate or perform. Think Dots is an active learning experience that provides students the opportunity to collaborate with a deeper level of conversation, focus, and engagement.